Thanks for joining us for KSAT News at 9. Streaming from here in the KSAT 12 newsroom, I'm Courtney Friedman. Coming up tonight, we now know when barbershops, nail salons, and gyms will be able to open up in Texas. The Chamber of Commerce offering a resource for those feeling extreme work-related stress right now. Plus, we'll be joined by an infectious disease expert. She'll be here live to answer your coronavirus questions. But first, 4 more COVID-related deaths have been confirmed in Bexar County, bringing the death toll to 52. We now know one of those deaths was Clifford Child, an inmate who contracted the disease at the county jail. 1,677 cases have now been confirmed locally. That's 25 more than yesterday. 2 are from the jail and 23 are community spread. 824 people are still fighting the disease tonight, but 802 have recovered. Meanwhile, nail salons, barber shops, and gyms are next on the list of businesses that will be allowed to begin reopening again in Texas. Governor Greg Abbott made the announcement today. Starting this Friday, May 8th, cosmetology businesses will be allowed to open with some restrictions. Abbott recommends salons use an appointment-only system and limit stylists to 1 customer at a time. He also says stylist stations should be 6 feet apart. Swimming pools will also be allowed to reopen on Friday, and then 10 days later, on Monday, May 18th, gyms will be allowed to reopen under similar standards. Abbott cited low positive test rates and a steady hospitalization rate when making today's announcement, but he also acknowledged that the chances of contracting COVID-19 will increase as businesses pick up. Reacting to today's news, San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg expressed some concerns about how soon this next phase of reopenings is happening.
And I think one of the challenges is we don't know the impacts of choices we make in terms of opening activities and loosening social distancing for 2 or 3 weeks after we make them. So taken in succession without the benefit of data to reinforce the decision is really a risk that we're taking without a whole lot of awareness.
And while they don't have the power to control when businesses will reopen, the county city economic transition team says they do have recommendations for safely reopening businesses in our area. That team released those recommendations today. One of the biggest parts of the plan, a campaign in which business owners could see a pledge online promising to follow safety guidelines such as requiring face coverings and following CDC cleaning guidelines. You can read their full report right now on KSAT.com. As some retail stores and malls reopened this past weekend with restrictions, Traders Village San Antonio was not allowed. The city had said under the governor's orders they were not included. But tonight, Tiffany Huertas reports that could change.
This past week, we thought we were going to open, and a lot of the vendors were excited because they had been closed for a while.
Javier Galvan is one of the vendors at Traders Village San Antonio. While some businesses reopened, the flea market did not.
About 3 o'clock Friday evening, before we already announced all week that we were going to be open, we got word that we cannot open. We have about 100 or something permits that state that we are a retail facility, and they're deeming us that we're not. I don't understand.
Other flea markets opened this weekend, including Traders Village Grand Prairie and Traders Village Houston. Ken Hintz, the general manager of Traders Village Houston, says they are located outside the Houston city limits in the unincorporated area of Harris County. He says Harris County sent out 2 officers to inspect them and they were approved to open. The mayor of San Antonio addressed why the flea market could not open here.
Unless the business is expressly listed as a reopened business or an essential business within the governor's order, the governor retains the right to open or close that business. The best guidance for a business who believes that that interpretation is not correct would be through the Texas Department of Emergency Management, where there's a portal that allows for a business that's not listed in the governor's order to get a determination.
On the Texas Division of Emergency Management's website, it explains essential services and reopened services. On this page, businesses can fill out their information and request that their business be designated essential. A spokesperson for the Texas Division of Emergency Management sent us this statement regarding flea markets, in part, quote, "Flea markets are a type of shopping mall. Shopping malls are currently able to operate as a reopened service," end quote.
Some of these vendors depend on this business to put food on their table, to pay their bills and things like that. And it was devastating for them to be told at the last minute that
A spokesperson for Traders Village San Antonio says they have not applied on the website because they wanted to speak with city officials first. They are looking at all options. Tonight, we also reached out to the city of San Antonio if there will be any changes regarding flea markets. We have not heard back yet. For the 9, Tiffany Huertas.
Thank you, Tiffany. Whether it's loss of work, working from home, or being affected by illness, work-related stress is at unprecedented levels. That's why the Chamber of Commerce is stepping in with the free webinar, rounding up mental health experts to talk about coping mechanisms for both employers and employees. The Chamber president tells me a big part of the conversation will be about domestic violence and how coworkers and managers can look out for each other. It's part of my series confronting domestic violence, Loving in Fear.
The COVID-19 pandemic hard on the wallet and hard on the mind. Even the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce is acknowledging the importance of mental health care.
I have experienced it in my own family, the need for finding services. You know, where do you call? And so people are in a frenzy. And we're really trying to give them opportunities to take a breath and let them know that there are resources available that they can use for themselves or their families.
Chamber President Richard Perez highlights one type of stress in particular that many in the workplace don't typically consider: abuse at home. Experts say when families are stressed and stuck at home together, domestic violence numbers spike. Perez says he's been working on outreach for months.
When the city, they came out with that report about the incidence of domestic violence, that kind of was the red flag that said, we have a big problem and it belongs to all of us to try to figure it out.
That dialogue about to take place this Thursday in the form of a free public webinar. It's hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, and there are going to be experts from UT Health San Antonio and the City of San Antonio. You just go to this website and click register.
Experts know work is one of the main places victims can go to get away from their abuser. So coworkers and managers have a responsibility to pay attention.
And the challenge is, how do you talk about it in the workplace, right? I mean, we want to equip people with tools so that when they see signs, they can feel confident to be able to go and talk to an employee about, is this happening? And not to get too personal, but by the way, here's some resources that you can use.
Conversations that may seem uncomfortable, but can be life-saving.
That important free webinar open to the public. It's this Thursday, May 7th at 10 a.m. We have the link for registration on KSAT.com, and there we also have a link for those who want to join the Chamber of Commerce. Now, taking a look at the latest numbers around Texas, there are now 33,000 cases and 906 deaths. Nationwide, there are 1.23 million confirmed cases and nearly 72,000 deaths. And globally, there are 3.6 million confirmed cases and nearly 257,000 deaths. New tonight, Ruth Bader Ginsburg hospitalized today with an infection caused by a gallstone. According to a statement from the court, Ginsburg had a non-surgical treatment for a benign gallbladder condition. She will probably be in the hospital for a couple of days, but she is reportedly resting comfortably, and she still plans to take part in the high court's arguments via telephone tomorrow. Turning to tonight's 9 at 9, a man killed in an officer-involved shooting here at home. Americans accused of trying to overthrow Venezuela's government. Plus, a look at how COVID-19 is affecting communities around the globe.
Here's tonight's 9 at 9. A man killed in a San Antonio police officer-involved shooting. It happened on Five Palms Drive in Shoreview Place. According to Police Chief William McManus, the man was one of 3 approached by the officer about car burglaries in the area. At some point, one of the men and the officer got into a fight. The man took the officer's taser and used it on him. McManus says that's when the officer shot and killed the man. Venezuela's president says 2 Americans have been captured in a failed coup attempt. An address on state TV, Nicolas Maduro claimed their identification shows they work for Silvercorp, an American security company. The head of the company told the Washington Post the 2 Americans were captured on Monday, along with 6 Venezuelans, after launching an operation to infiltrate Venezuela. Turkish customs seized nearly 90,000 surgical and filtered masks stuffed into pillowcases at Istanbul's airport. Turkey has restricted the export of personal protective equipment during the coronavirus pandemic. According to Turkey's trade ministry, a subsequent sting operation led to the seizure of nearly $500,000 worth of equipment. 2 people were arrested. Hong Kong will begin to relax some of the social distancing measures starting Friday. Its chief executive, Carrie Lam, announced today that limits on gatherings will expand from 4 to 8 people starting May 8th. Groups of up to 8 people will also be allowed to sit together in restaurants, but will still have to enter with face masks and have their temperatures checked. Businesses will also be allowed to reopen, like gaming centers, theaters, beauty salons, and massage parlors. A new study shows that by the year 2070, billions of people will be living in a climate that's, quote, unsuitable for human life to flourish. According to an international team of archaeologists, ecologists, and scientists, if global warming continues unchecked, heat in some parts of the world will bring nearly unlivable conditions for up to 3 billion people. Cutting down on greenhouse gas emissions could cut that number in half, but they say it'd have to be done quickly. Take a look at this dash cam video out of Iowa. Several hay bales caught fire on a truck. Deputies say the hay will probably burn for a few days in this ditch, but we don't know how the fire started in the first place. Starbucks says it expects about 85% of its U.S. stores will be reopened by the end of the week. Dine-in service will still be off limits, but drive-through orders and orders made through the app or Uber Eats will be allowed. The company hopes to reopen 90% of its stores by June. Nike is donating thousands of sneakers to healthcare workers fighting COVID-19. The company has partnered with the nonprofit Good 360 to deliver 30,000 shoes to workers in Chicago, Los Angeles, Memphis, and New York. Sneakers are also being sent to hospitals across Europe. This student in Colombia is so committed to learning, he climbs a tree to connect to the public Wi-Fi to complete his assignments. Thomas Gutierrez is a systems engineering student who had to return to his parents' home during the pandemic. Moved by his ingenuity, his professor posted about him on social media. The university has now provided him with a laptop and router so he can study with both feet on the ground. To read more about these stories, head to KSAT.com.
Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your Tuesday. Today, a cool front moved through, and it's going to set up a really pleasant into the week and even into Mother's Day weekend. It should be pretty nice. So let's go ahead and talk about the numbers for the day today. Yesterday, we saw a high of 97, but today that high temperature was only at 91, and that was shortly after the lunch hour. Then that front moved through, dropped our temperatures into the 80s, and it's been a pretty pleasant end to Tuesday. Want to show you the weather setup where that front is right now. It's currently south of San Antonio. You can see with the temperatures, the cooler air behind that front. We've got temperatures in the 60s in parts of North Texas. Now, eventually, we'll be able to see mornings in the 50s here in San Antonio, but we'll take our time. One thing that I want to talk about is the potential for a few isolated showers or even rumbles of thunder late tonight and into early tomorrow. That front is going to stall out and allow for a few areas of showers and again possibly a rumble of thunder or two, but by the morning hours, mid-morning hours, we should start to clear out and we'll be looking at a pretty nice day tomorrow. Our high temperatures will only be in the low to mid 80s with low humidity, so it's going to be a beautiful Wednesday. Again, we'll start off at around 63 degrees, a cool morning, but there will be that potential isolated 30% for a few showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. Odds are, though, you won't see any rain. Then we'll have a mix of sun and clouds into the afternoon, 85 for the high, low humidity, and winds from the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, I'm going to show you the patio forecast because it's going to be patio weather over the next few days. Low humidity with another front arriving on Friday. Our highs will only be in the 80s until then. With that front arriving Friday, Saturday, we will only be in the 70s. And as far as rain chances go with that front, it's looking very isolated on Friday with potentially a few light rain showers early Saturday morning. But the good news is we clear out by Mother's Day. Mother's Day, a high only near 80 degrees, a lot of sunshine, and the key here is low humidity. Hope you enjoy the nice weather.
We'll be back in 1 minute. Stay with us.
Every weekday, we're continuing our effort to fight fear with facts as the coronavirus pandemic continues to impact communities across the globe. Infectious disease expert Dr. Ruth Bergeron from the Long School at UT Health San Antonio is back with us this week to help us get answers to your coronavirus questions. Dr. Bergeron, thank you for joining us as you do on every Tuesday. I appreciate it. Today, Governor Abbott announced plans to reopen hair salons, nail salons, swimming pools, gyms, exercise facilities. Are we ready for all that?
So, Steve, I want to remind everybody that the way we assess how risky a particular enterprise or business is has to do with the contact intensity, meaning how close are you to other people and for what duration? Are you real close and for a long time or not so much? The second parameter is how many people are you exposed to in a particular environment? Is it many or few? And then the third thing is how modifiable is this environment? Can you fix it by spacing it out between barber chairs, for instance? So by those parameters, Steve, if you compare salons to restaurants, they both come out to be about medium risk. And that's kind of interesting. You have more people that you might get exposed to in a restaurant than a salon, but you have less intensity there. And so at the end of the day, restaurants and salons are not especially different by the criteria that we apply from an infectious disease standpoint. Now, all that is to say, you still have to pay attention to the physical distancing guidelines and modify the environment where possible. Don't let 50 people into your barber shop, right? Space the chairs out so there's 6 feet in between people. Have folks wear masks. Do your surface cleansing. Make sure that high-touch surface areas are getting cleansed regularly. And if those things can be done, whether it's a barber shop or a gym, then that modified risk is probably in the medium range, which is similar to restaurants. I hope that makes some sense.
It does, but from your medical experience and your medical opinion, would you prefer we waited a few more weeks?
I would, because I'm going to take us back to those progress indicators that we talked about last week when our health transition team put out our report. And remember that we wanted to see a 14-day decline in new cases. We wanted to see a healthy, unstressed healthcare system. Arguably, we may have both of those. It depends on how you want to count new cases, okay? But the other two parameters, do we have a contact tracing team ready to go? Nope. We need 175 contact tracers ready to go. And do we have enough tests? Can we test 30,000 people a week in San Antonio? No, we cannot. We can test about 1,600. Now, a week from now could be a very different story. I know that we're going to have increased capacity at University Hospital. But, Steve, we've got 3,000 people in the jail, and it's taking us weeks to test that population. So we're very far away from being able to test 3,000 people in our community. Therefore, we never really have met the phase 2 progress indicators. So I worry about all of these places opening up by those measures.
Right. Okay, and I've got a jail question coming up for you, but the next viewer question is, how often are medical workers, I'm assuming the frontline medical workers, getting tested for COVID-19?
Okay, so remember, this will change as our testing capacity increases, and it may change starting in the next 1 to 2 weeks. But right now, the medical workers that get tested are folks that are providing care, face-to-face care, in long-term care facilities like nursing homes where there has been a case. So it's now a recommendation that in congregate settings like nursing homes, like homeless shelters, that there should be universal testing of both the people who live there and the people who are providing the care there, so that you can segregate the positives from the negatives. And in some cases, we have the possibility of not ill but COVID positive healthcare workers still going to work if it's a crisis situation, but cohorting them to where they're working only with positives.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're not going to infect somebody if they already have the infection.
Okay. The other group of healthcare workers that would be priority for testing would be those that know they've been exposed and who work face-to-face with highly immunocompromised patients, such as, a transplant surgeon or a bone marrow transplanter. If that bone marrow transplanter's kid is home with a fever and you think it's COVID, then it's a really good idea to prioritize that kind of asymptomatic health worker for testing so that you protect all the folks that individual may expose.
Right. In what situation, this is a big controversy now because there are a lot of people offering antibody tests. In what situations should I get an antibody test? Are there any situations where it would be counterproductive?
Yeah, so great question and timely question, and everybody's buzzing about antibodies because there's tons of tests from a bunch of different companies. And please know that in several weeks and several months, my answer will change because we're going to have more information. But today, from where we stand here in San Antonio, it is very likely that a positive test is no better than a coin toss in telling you whether you have a true positive or whether you have a false positive. And the reason that could be bad is that if it changes your behavior, so you now think, hey, I'm invincible, I have antibodies, I'm not going to get sick, and you go around and aren't careful, then you could get sick because it could have been a false positive. We also don't know, even if those antibodies are true positives and if they are protective, we don't know how long that protection may last. So again, the danger is that it could cause people to throw caution to the wind when they should still be very careful. Now, where should we be doing the antibody testing? There's one circumstance where I fully endorse it and we need to do it, and that is for looking for convalescent plasma. People who have recovered from COVID-19 may have antibodies at a very high level that could help someone else get over the disease who's critically ill. And there are protocols in place that allow us to take blood from a recovered person, separate the cells out from the liquid part, and in the liquid part are those antibodies, which are proteins, and we can give them to certain other people who are suffering from COVID. If you don't measure for antibodies, you won't know whether you're giving the right kind of plasma to a sick person. So in those instances, yes, we need the antibody test, but it will come to pass. I'm predicting it will come to pass that we will get to the point where we understand what the overall prevalence of the disease is in San Antonio or in our community, and therefore we'll have a better way to tell you if you have a positive, what's the likelihood that that really means that you had the disease. That's going to happen, and then we are eventually going to know how long those antibodies last and whether they really protect you. From the SARS epidemic from back in 2003, 2004, it turned out that antibodies did develop and they were protective, and those antibodies lasted about 2 to 3 years. So we could hope that that will be the case for COVID-19, but we don't know it today.
Right. We don't know it yet. We're getting there, hopefully. Yeah. All right. Next question has to do with the jail. The county judge today said that 217 of 294 inmates at the jail tested positive and that they were asymptomatic. What does that tell us about the coronavirus?
So there's a couple of things, and I want to make a point, which is that an asymptomatic person may also be a pre-symptomatic person. In other words, I could do the test on you today, you don't feel anything and you're fine, your test comes back positive, but if I monitor you closely, you could become symptomatic anytime, ostensibly in the next 14 days, more likely sooner than that. But asymptomatics could also be pre-symptomatic, and we will have that data eventually from the jail because we're monitoring people for symptoms twice daily. Now back to your question, what does this mean for coronavirus? What does it tell us? It tells us that really a large proportion of people, I'm going to avoid giving you a percentage number, but a large proportion of people who get the virus are going to have such mild disease that they're not even going to notice it, or they're not going to think it's worth writing home about or going to get a test for. Yet, those are the folks who may be able to transmit it to others. That's the whole point of why we want people to mask, is because we know that we may have the virus and barely notice the symptoms, and yet the potential for transmission to others when we're barely symptomatic exists. How do we know this? We know this from studies that have been done in China, and there's some very credible reports that do include some mathematical models that are coming out of Wuhan, China, and other places that really do show us how important these undocumented infections are. Undocumented means we didn't go get a test because the symptoms were either mild or absent. So undocumented people clearly can transmit.
All right, last question from the viewer for you. Why should the average person care about what's going on in the Bexar County Jail? We get the numbers every day, and I think a lot of people think the jail is separate. The jail is another thing. It's not, we're not talking about community spread. Why should the average person care about what's going on there?
We should care a lot because it's right in the middle of our city, and there's a lot of people coming in and going out of the jail every day. There is SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes the COVID-19 disease. It is present in the jail. You heard already the numbers today. I won't repeat them, but we have quite a lot of people there. There are people who are negative, and slightly more are negative than positive from the ones we've tested so far, and that's good because we can keep them separate. But in the meantime, the jail is a place where there is SARS-CoV-2. Workers who work in the jail, about 550 of them, they come from the community, they go into the jail, they go back home. We're in the process of testing them as well, and as you know, and has been reported, there have been a number of deputies that have been positive. Then we have people who continue to be brought into the jail as potential inmates, a lot of them. In a city this size, we have 50 to 70 or 80 people who may come in, be brought in to be detained, and then we have close to that many that are going out every day because they serve their time, or they get reevaluated and then they get bailed out. Okay, so you have this constant coming in and going out of the inmate population as well as the worker population, and that means every time somebody goes out of the jail, they could be bringing the virus to others in the community. So we're not done yet, and we need to get this contained. And as long as we don't get it contained, we have the risk of spread.
Dr. Ruth Berggren, UT Health San Antonio, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
We'll be right back.
Here at home, school district leaders have the overwhelming task of planning for the return of kids to the classroom during a pandemic. Superintendents for San Antonio and Northside Independent School Districts both say they're going to need feedback from parents on what they'd like to see and what's working for their families. Both superintendents expect a form of a blended program involving distance and in-classroom learning. Expect students to eat their lunch in the classroom, and most contact sports might be absent. Because the health guidelines are changing weekly, they say there's no real way to predict how their plans will change. The flexible planning could take a toll on districts' budgets, too.
Until you know and we can predict what the model will be, how exactly we're going to serve students, it's a little bit hard to say what the impact of the budget will be. Certainly, any of these options are more expensive than what we would traditionally do. Schools are designed for efficiency. They're really not designed for social distancing.
SAISD says they're looking to start summer school in July and the fall semester on August 10th. The plans will vary from school to school based on the campus size. NISD says they're still looking to narrow down a start date for summer, but they do hope to start the fall semester in early August. Turning to tonight's top stories, the South Texas community of Pearsall is reporting 10 positive COVID-19 cases. All of those cases have been traced to the South Texas ICE Processing and Detention Center. 7 detainees and 3 employees have tested positive. The city manager and at least 1 Frio County commissioner says they are worried about the private company operating the facility not doing an adequate job of reporting numbers in a timely manner. A top executive for Amazon quit and released a letter attacking the company's action during this pandemic. Tim Bray said he could not work for the company when it was firing whistleblowers. Bray alleged Amazon let go several employees for sharing concerns about the spread of the coronavirus at Amazon warehouses. In his post, Bray noted that all of the employees fired were minorities or women. Amazon says they fired some of these employees for violating social distancing guidelines and others for violating internal policies. North Star Mall reopened its doors today for the first time in weeks. For now, the mall will be open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and on Sundays, noon to 6. The food court is limited to carry-out only. The mall has added hand sanitizing stations and is abiding by social distancing guidelines. The shops at La Cantera also reopened today. If you've been online or on social media over the past few days, then the chances are you've heard of the murder hornet, which I'm trying not to look at. The insect has made its way into the United States for the first time ever. RJ Marquez spoke with a local expert to see if this giant hornet can make its way to South Texas.
It's about 2 inches long, but it's causing a big buzz across the country. The Asian giant hornet is now in the U.S., in the Pacific Northwest. The New York Times reported it can wipe out honeybee hives with its potent venom and stinger. It's the reason it was given the name the murder hornet.
It can kill off an entire bee colony, which is pretty amazing considering that you'll have 60,000 plus honeybees in a healthy colony.
Molly Keck is an entomologist with the Texas AgriLife Extension in Bexar County. She says there have been discussions about the hornet for months.
The Texas Beekeepers Association had been talking about it. That had kind of been on the radar for the next big pest that was going to arrive.
Keck says the murder hornet, like many invasive species, may have come to the U.S. on a cargo ship. The next step is seeing how it adapts to the weather.
What I hope is that it's just too cold where they are right now and they're not used to that weather, and then they die off over the winter time and they don't become endemic here.
If the hornet survives the colder months, it could become an issue in southern states, including ours, where the weather is warmer.
It's more likely that they would make it south as opposed to starting south and traveling up north. And if their host or their primary food source for their offspring are honeybees, there are plenty of hives all over the United States.
Honeybees are vital to our ecosystem, especially in South Texas. Our food supply would be disrupted without them.
We just simply wouldn't have the amount of variety of food that we have. We use honeybees primarily to pollinate agricultural crops.
The other major concern is stings to humans. The hornets reportedly kill about 50 people a year in Japan. Researchers say they can even sting through a bee suit.
They're so large that I would just think the amount of venom they can give you at one time is much more than you would get from a single bee or even a handful of our regular wasps.
South Texas is already home to some pretty big insects.
We have cicada killer wasps, which are about like a 2-inch, 1.5-inch wasp. So we have some big guys. Right now we don't have it in Texas, so there's no reason to really be overly concerned.
For the 9, RJ Marquez.